Hey Pretty Girl Club, this is a follow-up to my last video. I want to talk about how everyone technically has a superiority complex. Hear me out. Have you ever noticed how when you are the quote-unquote pretty girl and you have other girls bullying you, you will get people who will say, oh, why don't you just be the bigger person? That phrase, be the bigger person, what you're really saying is, I'm a bigger person than you. I am bigger than you mentally. I am superior to you morally. I am more mature than you. I am bigger and you are smaller. Is that not a superiority complex in and of itself? Have you ever noticed how people like to pick and choose what's a superiority complex and what's not? But suddenly, if you're the quote unquote pretty girl, if you do not fit the average stereotypes, or if you are kind of like this leveled up type of woman, then suddenly people want to say you have a superiority complex. And they are just using it as a way to gaslight you because a lot of people are intimidated by someone who has positive qualities and they know that they have those positive qualities. Have you ever noticed how a lot of people, they get mad when a girl is pretty and she knows that she's pretty, or they get mad at a girl when she talks about her racial mixture or her hair texture or whatever, and she actually embraces that part of themselves? Notice how suddenly people will be like, you're making it your whole personality. Meanwhile, those same people, they will use usernames online that are calling themselves African Queen, Nubian Princess, etc., and nobody cares. They're allowed to love themselves, they are allowed to embrace themselves, and nobody sees it as you're having a superiority complex. But as soon as you are talking about your multiracial background, or maybe you enjoy your skin tone and your skin tone is not a quote unquote dark skin, unambiguous skin tone, or maybe you have features that are more, they're not the norm in the monoracial community, then suddenly people automatically assume you have a superiority complex. So, do you see the situational ethics there? So, when it comes to other people bullying you, you can't respond because you have to be the bigger person, which is technically a superiority complex. And that's good, right? Letting other people bully you in order to prove that you are morally superior. And then suddenly, if you say, oh no, I'm not tolerating that, I'm going to respond to these haters, I'm going to respond to these bullies and put them in their place, then suddenly it's, oh no, you have a superiority complex and that's bad. So, which one is it? Do you see how people like to pick and choose when they want to be the moral police? All of these same people who are trying to police your morality, it's like, wait a minute, you guys are not, who are you? Are you a pastor? Are you a spiritual leader? Like, are you my dad? Are you my parents? Like, why is it that you get to tell me how to live my life? Why is it that you get to tell me what to do? I don't have to be a doormat in order to prove to you that I'm a good person. I don't have to date a guy in order to prove that I'm not shallow. Because I've noticed that a lot of guys will do this in terms of dating as well. They will try to guilt trip the pretty girl and be like, oh, well, you're shallow. Oh, you're just a gold digger. You're just trying to get a man who can pay for you. You just want to be a sugar baby. And they're saying that because they're hoping that by shaming you, that they can manipulate you into dating them. They want you to charity date them in order to prove that you are morally superior. They want you to prove how good of a person you are by dating them. It's the same concept when women say, oh, you're taking over, you're taking my opportunities from me. They want you to give up opportunities for money, for fame, for success, for clout. They want you to give up those opportunities in order to prove that you are somehow a good person and that you are somehow, down for the cause. You somehow are pro-black by giving up opportunities to make millions of dollars as an actress so that you can make room for someone unambiguous to get that role. And in reality, that's not even how Hollywood works. Like, for example, let's say Zendaya didn't get cast in the Spider-Man movie. Let's say she says, okay, I'm not going to even try out, or I'm not going to be in it. Let's say all the MLS women who are currently actresses or rappers or whatever in Hollywood, let's say all of them quit tomorrow. It's not like all of those people will suddenly be replaced by unambiguous women. Those women will probably just be replaced by other MLS women or other women who still fit that same description. So there's no such thing as, oh, if I don't go after opportunities, they're automatically going to go to this unambiguous woman. That's not true. So when people say stuff like that, they're literally just gaslighting you. What they're really saying is they just don't want you to have any extra attention. They don't want you to have any extra social status because they view you winning pageants and you getting the guy or you becoming an actress or model or whatever. They view that as extra attention. So they don't want you to have any more extra attention more than what you already have. I've noticed the same talking point when it comes to wigs and weaves and lashes and makeup. They'll be like, well, why are you wearing makeup? You don't even need that. Why are you wearing a wig? You already have long hair. Wigs are for people who need to wear them. I remember I've been gaslit about this multiple times where people are like, why are you wearing a wig? Wigs are only for people who are like bald or people who don't have any hair, so like you don't need to wear it. In reality, that person just didn't like that I could switch up my look or get even more attention or whatever. So that's really what it is. This is not about ending racism, colorism, texturism, featureism, or anti-blackness. This is about women who feel like they are at the bottom of society in terms of social status. All they're doing is attempting to trade places with you in terms of social status. They're not trying to uplift you and empower all of us in the same way. No, they're just trying to take your place. So instead of you being in your position, they just want to become the new queen bee and they want you to be their sidekick. So that's why I don't really support a lot of those Black women empowerment channels because I feel like some of them are very disingenuous when they say, oh no, I want all of us to be uplifted. I want all of us to like kind of be in this together. But then in reality, at every turn, you're bullying anyone that does not look like how you look. And then you want to turn around and say, well, you guys, you just need to be the bigger person. Or suddenly, have you ever noticed how some people, they only have empathy for a person who is underprivileged? They'll be like, oh, well, I can understand why, Stefco or these other content creators, I can understand why they're so angry because everybody's a white supremacist and, systematic racism. You're no different, though, than the Black manosphere guys who say, but I'm broke because systematic racism and 400 years of oppression and the whole system is against me. So, like, you should still date me because you shouldn't judge my actions and my behaviors because I'm only responding to the environment I'm in. But do you see how that can be a problem, though? Because just because you're only responding to the environment that you're in, it doesn't make it okay for you to bring trauma onto me. It doesn't make it okay for you to then lash out in abuse onto me. Your reaction to the bad environment you're in should not be to abuse me. It shouldn't be to call me names or put me down. I am very sorry that this world is so messed up. I'm sorry that we live in a world that is corrupt and capitalist, white supremacist, whatever. But I also can't help how I was born. I can't help the position that I was born in, and I can't help it if some random guy thinks that I meet his beauty standard. That is not my fault. That is not something that you should abuse me over. That's not something that you should bring trauma to me over. I've noticed that a lot of women, they can understand this concept when it comes to Black men and how those men treat unambiguous Black women. You guys will say all the time, well, hey, just because you were raised in the hood or just because you went through these traumas, it doesn't mean that it's okay for you to go and inflict traumas and violence upon women. And guess what? I'm keeping that same energy with all people in the unambiguous community, men and women. Just because you have gone through those traumas doesn't mean it's okay to inflict those traumas upon MLS people or upon people who you see as more privileged than yourselves. Have you ever noticed how some people, whenever you become rich or you become wealthy, people will say, oh, you're a sellout. You didn't give back to the hood. You didn't come back to where you came from. You forgot where you came from. But it's like, people who are from the hood don't even want to live in the hood. People who are born and raised in the hood still do everything in their power to try to get out of the hood. So why would somebody who has gotten out of the hood and they have become wealthy, why would they then go back to a dangerous neighborhood and go back to a place where people are more likely to rob them or more likely to have a crabs in a bucket mentality? That doesn't even make any sense. Have you ever noticed that a lot of people will put moral requirements onto you that they themselves don't even meet? I've noticed some men will do this. They'll gaslight and they'll be like, well, you're not a 7, you're a 6, you're an adjustable 6, you're a 5. And it's like, okay, but what are you? So you're putting these requirements and standards on a woman that you yourself don't even meet. And I've noticed that a lot of people like to police us the women who they feel are privileged or the women who they feel are, the pretty ones or whatever. And they will try to put all of these random high, super high standards onto us. But I've noticed they don't keep that same energy with themselves. So if you're an MLS woman, you have to wear your hair real. Otherwise, people make fun of it. You're not allowed to wear contacts. Otherwise, people will call it out. You're not allowed to get plastic surgeries. People will call it out. If you're fat or you gain weight or whatever, people will call it out and make fun of you. But then if you turn around and do that to unambiguous women, you get to be called a colorist, texturist, featurist, or anti-black. It's the situational ethics for me. Anyway, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section and I'll talk to you next time. Stay pretty, ladies.